If there's one thing that that this podcast is known for, is my attempts to ask the tough questions, to ponder the difficult I don't know, to ponder the difficult questions, on top of asking them, which I think is to, those are basically both the same thing. But I'm attempting to sound compelling right now, so bear with me. Um, but yeah, every now and then we hear at the effing podcast, and by we I mean me and I guess my dog, because it's not like I have a crew. There's nobody that comes in and fucking tunes my mic. Can you tune a mic? I don't know. Nobody adjusts my equipment. It's a one-man show. Well, one man and a dog. But every now and then we have to ask those tough questions, and with our current political climate and and this whole thing with Harvey Weinstein. I mean, at some point you have to ask the question that is on everybody's mind. And that question is, why didn't Superman's parents just build a bigger rocket ship? Like, why did they send him out into space on his own? I mean, of all the fucking, irresponsible things that you can do as a parent, I'm guessing sending your baby off into space, out into the world by himself, and sort of just hoping he makes it. I mean, I know that the story is right that they were sending him. Were they sending him to Earth? Well, well, from what I understand, they were sending him somewhere near the sun because they understood that the sun's energy would make the kid, super fucking powerful or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know the fucking story. I get most of my information from. I'm into comics, but I've always been, more of a Marvel comics reader. But why didn't they just? I mean, they had time to build a ship apparently, even though that the planet was getting ready to explode. And that's another thing. It's like, okay, so the planet is getting ready to fucking be disintegrated, and you stop to build a fucking ship that can only fit your baby. Like, I mean, if you had time to build a ship, why didn't you just build a bigger one where you could all just fucking fly off the planet? Like, why does his parents have to be fucking martyrs? And I'm sure that there are somebody, or that there are some in the listening audience that are, pounding on the table because they know the complete origin story of fucking Superman. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. If you had time to build, a rocket ship for a baby, then why didn't you just spend the extra time, instead of writing the schematics like, okay, what is the biggest space that we can put this kid in, and at the same time there's enough propulsion to get him to this other fucking planet that has a yellow sun, and I mean, isn't it just like, why the fuck did you, why would you do that? I mean, if like, if my house was, well, that's not really my house, because it's not like they were worried like, oh, the foundation on the fucking, the Supermanville or whatever, it's falling apart. I mean, they were obviously worrying about the entire fucking planet, but, just for shits and giggles, if, say, because I currently live in California, if California was getting ready to fall apart, I'm not gonna like pack up my fucking car and send my kids off by themselves into the world and hope that, they don't fucking crash or end up with some fucking child molester or whatever. I mean, that's another thing. Were they not worried that maybe, these people on this fucking blue planet with the yellow sun, were they like, well, I guess we'll just roll the dice on whether or not he's going to get molested? It's a weird fucking origin story. I know that with superheroes and the comics and shit, most of the characters kind of have to have this sort of tragic fucking backstory. But it's like, well, I don't know. I guess if his parents came along, right, he couldn't be Superman because it would be like Super Us. Because apparently when they get to Earth, or when Superman gets to Earth, for some reason I don't know if does he not age, or does he like age slowly or some shit. So I guess it wouldn't be as amazing that like, oh, there's this one guy, but now instead of it's just one guy, it's like, oh, there's this fucking family that they can fly and fucking look underneath fucking women's dresses and shit without fucking actually having to pull the dress up, and they can shoot fucking laser beams and shit out of their fucking eyeballs, and they can they can do all this cool shit except for disappear, right? But they can fucking turn back time. They can leap fucking tall building. Was there a point, like, I mean, obviously I wasn't around when the fucking, the Superman comic began. I mean, that's, fucking, I don't have to fucking, I mean, I wasn't around, because anybody that was around during that time is either fucking dead or Stan Lee. But, like, was he not able to fly before? Is that why he was leaping fucking tall buildings in a single bound? Did he used to just be able to jump real high, and then it sort of morphed into him being able to fucking fly or something? Who gives a fuck, really? But, like I said, we asked the hard-hitting fucking questions over here. Another one that I was thinking about, because I saw this article. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. And they apparently they have created a robot that's now has like fucking citizenship or some shit. And they were asking it questions like, hey, if what's your fucking goal? What are your motives? I mean, they're not really asking the right questions, like, hey, if you figure out that human beings are fucking by default just working towards our own destruction, are you going to at some point decide that we no longer should be in control? And then you're gonna, I mean, that's the question I would fucking would ask, but they're not asking that. And it made me think of the Terminator, obviously, because one of the answers that this fucking robot gave was like, if you treat me good, I'll treat you good, sort of a, like, if you fuck with me, I'll rip your goddamn head off. I mean, it didn't really say that, but that's what I thought it was fucking implying. And it made me think of fucking the Terminator, right? Because I mean, obviously, anytime a fucking robot suddenly acts more human, the first thing we think about is, fucking Skynet and Sarah Connor. Is it Connor or Connors? Whatever. Who gives a shit? And one thing that's always fucking puzzled me about the Terminator. I mean, obviously, if you only saw the first movie, then you're not gonna, it's maybe you're not gonna fucking think about this. But if you've seen, the other iterations and shit, the fucking part 2s and 3s and whatever, why is it that like, apparently, like, okay, according to the fucking movies, Skyline, what is this, what's the fuck, Skynet, it's an American company, right, that basically fucking sets the world on fire and turns human beings basically into an endangered species, right? It's set in America, and yet when the fucking Terminator shows up in the past, it's this fucking guy with an Austrian fucking accent. And and I mean that wouldn't fucking be a problem if, say, every other iteration of the fucking T1 or whatever the fuck they called it didn't have an American accent afterwards. So it's like, did they just decide, hey, let's this guy's already big and fucking scary, let's make him sound like a fucking Nazi as well? Wouldn't that make it, just a little bit more fucking frightening? Why the fuck would he have an Austrian fucking... I get it, you wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to play the fucking Terminator. I understand that. And of course, he doesn't seem capable to not have that fucking accent. So I get, like, by default, that's just what happened. But you would think that somebody would be like, this doesn't really fucking make sense. Because, Skynet is in America. And, why the fuck would the robot have... a foreign accent? And why, or if you're going to go that route, right? If you're just like, okay, they're going to have fucking foreign accents, they're going to sound like fucking Hitler on steroids. Although I don't know, what did fucking Hitler sound like? I mean, I know you see the videos where he's like, or whatever the fuck. I can't do a Hitler fucking accent or impression. I imagine you have to have like one testicle and a really tiny dick. I don't know. But, like when he wasn't yelling and screaming, did he, like, was his voice the same? Or did he have, like, I picture he probably sounded like a more manlier Michael Jackson, But, why didn't they just like, okay, well, since we're going to make a part 2, well, I guess part 2, fucking Arnold was still a part of it. Okay, so when they fucking sent the guy that fucking turns into like... Wait, what are you fucking barking at? Hold on a second, people. Sorry about that. Fucking, I don't know, my dog is getting old. I mean, he's not old. He's only 7, but... I don't know, he's going to bed at like fucking 8:30 now. And like in the morning, he doesn't... like I open up his cage... And he just kind of looks at me like, go fuck yourself. I'll get up when I feel like it, I don't know. I guess, like, he was asleep. I don't know if he... I mean, dogs will freak you the fuck out, right? Because they have such fucking sharp hearing. They can hear shit even before... I mean, well, obviously, they hear shit before you can hear it. But, every now and then, he'll go into this fucking barking fit. And he'll, like, run towards, like, the fucking window or the door or some shit. And it's like, whoa, who the fuck is out there? Like, what the fuck are you barking at? But he was asleep, so it's like, did you have a bad dream? You imagine somebody was fucking knocking at the door? Like, what the fuck was all that about? But anyway, back to the more fucking important conversation that was going on. It's just like, okay, so they, Arnold was the fucking was the guy in well, I mean, I guess the fucking the cop that, or the guy that took the form of the cop that fucking turned into liquid fucking metal or whatever. Like they should have made him, or they should have found an actor that had an Austrian or at least a German accent. And then when the girl, the lady fucking Terminator showed up, they should have done. I mean, it doesn't make like, why would the fucking if you're gonna make the first one sound like Hitler, then you got to make them all sort of sound like fucking like Nazis. Because I mean, Skynet was built in the fucking United States. It would only make sense that if they're gonna build fucking Terminators, that the Terminators would have an English sound. They wouldn't have a fucking accent, or at least they wouldn't have a foreign accent. They might have how fucking how unscary would it be if the Terminator had like a southern accent? Like I couldn't see being afraid of somebody that walked in the room was like, "Howdy, y'all! I'm here to fucking kill you." It's just, I don't know. There's nothing really terrifying about that. I don't know. But anyway, this is the effing podcast. For those of you that are I don't know, blind and have no idea what you're listening to or what you which podcast you turned on. This is the effing podcast. I usually do a couple of these a week, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, although I did not do one this past Tuesday. And you know, I'm not gonna apologize. I fucking was busy. I had exams to fucking study for, and it's just like, well, I can either get on this mic and fucking dance like a clown for an hour or so, or I can, not fucking waste the thousands of dollars I paid to go to school. So that's why I didn't do a podcast this past Tuesday. But usually I do a podcast on Tuesday or Thursday. Occasionally I do a third one on Friday if I have time, or if I remember, or if I just fucking feel like it, you know. But so if you're new to the podcast, welcome. And you know, if you've been listening for longer than just today, welcome back. Welcome back. I don't know. What do you guys want to fight? Like this fucking this Harvey Weinstein shit. I mean, it's horrific. Listen, you know, the sheer number of women that are coming out and being like, yeah, he did this, he did that. I think the latest one was that he held some lady down and fucking gave her fucking oral while she was on her period, which is just the fucking thought of that. And apparently, like, he pulled out her fucking tampon or some shit. I mean, what kind of a fucking disgusting fucking human being would do something like that? I mean, even if it was consensual, why the fuck would you want it? It's gross. And ladies, I'm sorry, you know, I know that for you it's just a biological thing, but there's no fucking way I'm coming anywhere near it when it's like that. And the fact that he's just like, you know, I almost expected when he was like, when they said, or when she said that he pulled out the tampon, I almost expected that he was like going to put it in his mouth or some shit. Because at this point, I feel like that is definitely something that he possibly could have done. But, I don't know. It's unleashed this fucking, I don't know, it's having a fucking domino effect. I mean, women are just coming out left and right and talking about everybody. And it's, you know, not just fucking Harvey Weinstein there, but I mean, I think yesterday or the day before, they were talking about how Bush Sr., you know, he's in his fucking wheelchair. He's on his way out. He's fucking what, like mid-90s or some shit. And apparently he grabbed some actress's butt or some shit, and it's just like lady, I don't want to cheapen it. I know that it is fucking horrific, the shit that you have to go through, and you really should. I mean, you shouldn't have to fucking deal with dudes fucking rubbing one out into plants in front of you, or fucking holding you down and pulling tampons out of your clam. You know, you shouldn't have to deal with guys that decide that they're just going to grab your ass or your boob or whatever. But, I mean, you can't even be a dirty old man anymore. I mean, it's like, okay, like, I get it if it was when Bush was fucking, you know, president and he was grabbing ass. Like, okay, yeah, you know, that's... I mean, it's still reprehensible. I'm not saying that it means, you know, something different, or it's not as disturbing, you know, because he's old. I'm just saying, it's like, can you just cut the guy a fucking break? I mean, he's I don't know. I mean, that does sound very ignorant to be like, you know, just let him fucking grab your ass. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, like, I guess the real question is, and this is for the fellas, do you think we should continue to buy women drinks? And I know I can hear the fucking, oh God, this fucking guy, you know, and the eye rolls and shit. I'm fucking joking, but it's just like, it's getting to the point now where, like, how are you supposed to approach a woman anymore? Because if you I mean, obviously you shouldn't be grabbing them. I'm not saying that, oh, well, now that you can't fucking grab ass, well, why, what do you do? I'm not saying that. Obviously, if you're grabbing fucking asses and titties and making fucking, lewd jokes and shit, I mean, you're kind of a disgusting human being. But it's just like, what are you supposed to do now if you're interested in a woman? Are you have to watch everything you fucking say and how you say it, because you might end up mansplaining something. You can't compliment them because somehow that's oppressing them, even though you're paying them a compliment. You can't really do anything as a guy. Like, I feel sorry for the young people that are still trying to figure out this whole, dealing with women. I mean, not young people, but the young fellas out there. Because it's like, how are you supposed to get laid anymore? How are you supposed to continue the fucking the human species? And I know, again, I'm not saying that it's fucked up that guys can't act like fucking pigs. I think when guys act like that, it's fucking gross. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. And yes, you shouldn't make any assumptions that if a woman's dressed a particular way, I mean, all of that shit is fucking disgusting. But you can't even compliment a woman anymore, because somehow you're oppressing her, or you're sexually abusing her by telling her that, hey, I like your fucking shoes. I like the cut of your jib. You can't do it anymore. So how the fuck are you supposed to interact with women anymore? It's just, to me, it's like, it's kind of like on par with the whole political correctness thing, right? Like some shit makes sense, right? Like, although I'll never understand why you can't call a little person a midget, but like, okay, like if you're feeling offended, then yeah, okay, maybe there's a point. But when it gets to the point where, like, you have to not only filter what you say, but you also have to sort of run it through, a sort of like, is this acceptable? I mean, to the point where you can't even just speak freely, because maybe you might say something that might be considered offensive, even though there was no, like the intent wasn't there. It's gotten out of control. And again, ladies, I'm not saying that, that you should just, shut up about, the shit that you have to put up with. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that it, that it should be okay for guys. I don't know why I got to keep fucking qualifying this. Other than the fact that I know that there's going to be somebody that's going to be like, oh, what are you saying that you fucking, it's okay, or men should be allowed to oppress women? No, I'm not saying any of that shit, you cunt. I'm saying that maybe things are getting a little too out of hand, to the point where, how's a guy supposed to fucking approach you now? I mean, before you used to be able to just walk up to a woman, I mean, assuming you're not a fucking pig, and start a conversation and make her laugh, and, and there was sort of this sort of playful back and forth, and, occasionally maybe you touch a hand or some shit, or, something that let them know that, hey, I like you. I'd like to fucking get to know you a little bit better, but I don't want to be in the fucking friend zone. How exactly, like, where is the fucking, what's the exam like? How do I study? How do I get into those draws is basically what I'm trying to get at. I mean, and again, I know that sounds very fucking, Neanderthalic, but ladies, help us out. How the fuck are we supposed to talk to you now? How do we approach you without you feeling offended or oppressed, or, I don't know. Because, like, at first, like when the sexual harassment thing started, not with Harvey Weinstein, but a long fucking time ago. I think, what's his face? The fucking Supreme Court guy. What the fuck is his name? Well, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. Like at first it was like, okay, so really, or it seemed to be like, well, if you're a guy that ordinarily, Clarence Thomas, that's the guy. If you're a guy that ordinarily women wouldn't be interested in, then any advances you make will be considered sexual harassment or some shit, right? But if you happen to be an attractive guy, it's like, not a big deal. But now, it doesn't seem to matter, right? That whole theory of if it's a guy that you don't want to fuck is bugging you, then that's sexual harassment. But if it's a guy that you would consider fucking, then it's okay, that it's just flirting or whatever the fuck. But now, not even that rule applies anymore. So as if you're a guy out there that's fucking single and and is actually interested in women, how is that guy supposed to approach you now? Without it's a fucking landmine field or whatever, minefield. Because I don't know. I mean, are there fucking air mines? You know what the fuck I mean. How exactly is a guy supposed to approach you at this point? And should guys, as sort of a protest, and this is just hypothetical, should guys stop buying women drinks? Should we just stop with any sort of chivalry whatsoever? Because I've heard people I've heard women get upset if a guy opens the door for them, because it's like, oh, how dare you fucking assume I can't do that shit, instead of just realizing that the guy's just being a fucking nice guy or whatever the fuck. Like should men just end chivalry altogether? Should we just, you pay for your drinks, I'll pay for mine. I'm not going to open the door for you or pull out a fucking chair. Although who pulls out a chair anymore? I don't think in my entire life I've pulled out a chair. Not because, I'm some fucking, asshole. It's just like we're not in the fucking 1950s, Can you just sit down? I mean, I will do the, I won't sit down until you do. I will do that. Which I think, that's sort of an old school thing to do. But, the whole like, oh, let me pull out your chair for. I mean, unless it's like obvious that, or if I happen to be, like if we're sitting like side by side or very near to each other and it's like, well, like it would just be a good, it would just be fucking kind to pull out your chair. Then yeah, I'll do it. But if we're like sitting on opposite ends of the fucking table, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know any way to fucking say that without sounding like some sort of fucking sexist pig or whatever. But it's just like, can you pull out your own fucking chair? But I mean, should we just to avoid the whole fucking shebang of possibly offending women, should we just no longer fucking do anything that would be considered chivalrous, right? Because for some reason women have a huge problem with, or not all women, some women, cunts, if we're going to be fucking specific, they just have it fucking, they have a bug up their ass that if a guy tries to do anything nice for them, that somehow that's oppressing them as a woman, so should we just stop it? Should we just be like, you know what, I'm not even going to approach you anymore. If you are interested in me, then you come talk to me, and and that's how we'll get the relationship started. Because it seems like that's where we're fucking headed, right? It seems like if you're, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but it just seems so, like, it seems like we've gone too far in the other direction. Obviously you shouldn't have to put up with people grabbing your ass, or touching your tit, or telling you some sort of fucking dirty joke that you didn't want to fucking hear, or pulling out your fucking tampon. Obviously you shouldn't have to fucking deal with that. But are you telling me now that a man can't even be like a dirty old man anymore? We can't do that. I mean, the guy is 90 fucking 394 or something like that. I mean, like at this point he's just operating on fucking pure like ape instinct, right? Just booty grab it, I mean, it's not a, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know why I'm trying to make an argument for allowing men to be dirty old men, because obviously if some old guy fucking grabbed my daughter's ass or some shit, I'd be a little upset. But the thing is like, would I be so upset that I'd want to like take action against him, or would I just be like, well, he's fucking old, and old fucking people, they've put up with so much shit. Yeah, it sucks that he grabbed my daughter. I mean, if he grabbed my daughter now, she's a teenager and shit. I mean, yeah, I don't care. Fucking if you're 90 or 106, I'm punching you in the fucking mouth. But, if when my daughter's older, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'd be okay. I still don't think I'd be okay with it. But, I mean, I'd never be okay with it. It's not even I don't think. I would not be okay with it. But at some point, you're going to be like, well, yes, it's fucking horrific. Yes, you shouldn't have to fucking deal with it. But he's fucking old, and, I don't know. Ladies, what would help is if you guys would just start walking around grabbing fucking dudes' dicks or some shit. Can we just even it up? And more importantly, can you please stop acting like you don't enjoy sex as much as we do? Like, that shit bugs the fuck out of me. It's like, oh, these sexual advances and shit, as though, I mean, I get it if if it's not your fucking, somebody that you're interested in. I 100% understand this. I'm not making I'm not making the argument that you should just, why do I have to keep qualifying this shit? If after this point you still think that I'm advocating for men to be pigs, then you're determined to be upset with me. And I know that there are some people that are, I'm still getting fucking like emails from from the podcast I did. I don't know, it's 2 or 3 fucking podcasts ago where, the fucking lady that I don't want to get into it. If you follow my podcast, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's just like, some people are just, they're determined to be upset. Even though it's been explained, even though, it's obvious that I'm not advocating that you let dudes fucking act like pigs and all that shit. But at some point, you gotta just sort of like realize that you're kind of killing the ability for a man to approach a woman, because now he feels like he's constantly walking on fucking eggshells and doesn't know what to fucking say to you. Right? Because, one of the things I hear women, when they talk about like, oh, things that are attractive about a man is, how confident he is. But how can a man be confident anymore if you're upset about everything he fucking does? And everything he's, anything that he does is perceived as some sort of oppression to you. I don't know. I don't really even know what I'm fucking asking for. I'm just, because, I mean, it seems like, well, obviously you shouldn't be able to grab fucking people, but, I mean, it's not like, oh, well, there's this fine line between being a respectful guy and, and being a fucking lurch. I mean, there isn't. Obviously people that are fucking disgusting and gross, shouldn't be allowed to be fucking disgusting and gross to other people. I don't know. Maybe we should just get off this fucking topic, because there's no way that I can put it that's going to make it seem like, oh, yeah, that's a reasonable fucking thought. Speaking of, I don't know, women. Or speaking of my daughter, actually, I took her to watch that movie Flatliners. She's 13. And the movie's PG-13. And I was actually a little concerned, because she was the one that was like, yeah, I want to see that movie. And, I was a little concerned about it, because, it is basically, I mean, if you haven't seen the original, or if you have no idea what what this recent one is about, basically it's this group of doctors that decide that they want to find out what it's like to die and come back to life. They want to see, like, is there an afterlife, or is there some sort of fucking experience that you go through, yada yada yada, right? So what they do is they basically, they have the other doctors, and they think they're not even actually doctors, they're like well, they're not medical students, I think they're like, residents, right? And they're like, okay, I want you to stop my heart and let it go for a certain amount of time and then bring me back, right? And then all sorts of fucking crazy shit happens. But it is essentially sort of like, well, I want to die for a little bit and then, come back. And, it just like with teenagers, you always have to be, alert if teenagers start, sort of, I don't know, when they start becoming like fascinated with death and stuff, if they start to sort of glorify death, or they become like interested in, like, things like people killing themselves, or you just anything that kind of surrounds death, if they start becoming very interested in it, those are red flags. Those are things that you definitely need to fucking pay attention to. And if you see it, you probably should fucking take them to see a therapist immediately. Because because it is a sign. I mean, it's a common thing when you talk to people that have attempted suicide. One of the things you find a lot is a sort of morbid fascination with death. So when she was like, I want to see this, and plus, she wears a lot of black, and she's into this whole fucking goth thing. So when she was like, I want to see, I was like, fuck, man. Like, do I need to take her? And it turns out she was just interested in the fucking movie, and the weird thing is there was, well, not even a weird thing. I think what made it even more fucking scary for me, right, was because we went to see the movie, and like 90% of the fucking audience were teenagers. And it's like, fuck, like what the fuck is going, like, why are all of a sudden, fucking teenagers interested in this fucking movie, and like some of the music that she listens to, although it's not about death, but it's what do they call that shit, emo or whatever, which is really fucking sad and I'm pathetic and that sort of fucking thing. So naturally, I'm like, fuck, man, like, what's going on here? But we went and watched it, and she enjoyed it, and I was worried about the why she wanted to watch it, but also because she's very I don't know, she's easily scared. So I was like, fuck, are you gonna, because it is, it can be considered a scary, I mean, I've seen, things that are much scarier, but for a teenager, it's like, I don't know, this might be a little too scary. And I made the fucking disclaimer before we watched. I was like, well, don't think that, after we watch this and you get scared that you're gonna be fucking hopping into bed with me, because that's not gonna fucking happen, I mean, I didn't say it that way, but But it turns out she liked the movie, and of course afterwards I had to have a fucking talk with her. It was just like, you realize that that none of that is real, and any attempt to fucking try and see if there's some sort of afterlife is ridiculous. I tried to make it seem as though, not like, hey, if something's going on, fucking talk. I mean, I was kind of hinting at that, but I was trying to sort of like, okay, there's nothing worth killing yourself for, sort of a thing, right? Just in case. But it turns out, it was just some, like, I don't know, the fucking kids at her school, like, ooh, I want to see it. And it turned out to be completely fucking innocent. But the one good thing that I came out of it, or that came out of that, was like, she's like, I want to see more horror films. And I'm like, oh, fuck, hell yeah, because I love fucking horror films. I love, like, if you can scare me, then the more you can scare me, the more you can fucking creep me out, to the point where, like, at night I'm sort of like, do I really want to turn the lights out? The better. I fucking love fucking horror films. And it's like, well, when you have two younger kids, it's not like you can really, watch those types of things, at least, with them fucking in the room or whatever. So it's like, oh, finally, I have somebody I can fucking, you know, I can go and watch some shit with. And, I've been trying to get, like, well, because, like, as a kid, right, when my mom wasn't being such a fucking monster to me, she would take me to watch fucking like Friday the 13th and shit like that. I mean, it's talk about, I don't know if you want it. Is that irresponsible? I guess it's kind of irresponsible because it did give me fucking nightmares. But the thing is like, I never, like the first time that we went, it wasn't like I was expecting it. So it was fucking scary, but it wasn't like, okay, after that, like, nah, I don't want to see that shit. Like she fucking started the interest in horror films for me. So, if there's one good thing that she fucking did, that was it. And now my daughter fucking is into it, and I've been trying forever to get her to watch fucking scary movies. And she never, like, she watched about, I don't know, 2 minutes of The Grudge. And it was that one part where like the girl fucking, she goes back. Well, wait, was it the American version or the fucking Japanese version? I don't remember which, but she goes back to her fucking like hotel or room or whatever, and there's fucking like somebody knocks at the door, and she looks through the fucking peephole, and it's like her brother or some shit, and then she opens the door and there's nobody fucking there. And then, she goes and lays down for some fucking reason because, I don't know, that makes sense to do after you just saw a fucking ghost or whatever the fuck. And then, the thing fucking makes that fucking sound. And, she looks under the fucking sheets and there's the fucking Grudge chick. That's the part that we watched, and it scared the shit out of her. And she was like, she ran out of the fucking room or whatever. So ever since then, she's been like, nah, fuck that. I don't want anything to do with anything fucking scary. So now that that we've watched this, and she was like, yeah, there was a fucking, few jump scares or whatever, but it wasn't like, it wasn't that fucking scary. So I'm like, all right, cool. So now we can watch other shit. I mean, I'm not just going to jump right into, I don't know, like what fuck. I mean, The Grudge really freaked me out. Same thing with The fucking Ring. Those two movies freak me the fuck out. Like, even thinking about it now is just making me feel a little fucking creeped out. But I'm not gonna start her off, although I tried to. But I'm not gonna start her off with like something that's really fucking frightening. But I don't know. Somebody give me some fucking suggestions of horror movies. They're scary, but they're not like stay with you for fucking years type scary. Because, I mean, like, when I saw The Grudge, right, like, I bought the movie, right, I watched it in the fucking theaters, and it scared the fuck out of me, and I even tried to, I watched it, and then, like, I don't know, like, a couple weeks went by, and I was going to the movies again, and the movie that we were going to see was, like, I don't know, we got there fucking super early. It was like, I don't know, like an hour and a half or something fucking earlier than what we, than when the movie was going to fucking start. And it's like, oh, well, let's go fucking, watch The Grudge again, And we sat down, and it was like, I don't know, 5 minutes in, I was like, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want to put myself through this shit again. And, and I bought the fucking movie, but I've never fucking watched it again. Like even that short little bit that my daughter saw, like after that, like after she was like, turn this shit off or I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, I turned it off as well. So I've never been able to rewatch that movie. That's how much it fucked with me. And yeah, I'm a little bitch when it comes to things, but at least I'm willing to fucking admit it. But I don't know, where was I going with this shit? I don't know. I'm happy that she can share that with me because I love fucking scary movies. love them. I think the last one that fucking creeped me out was what was the last scary movie that I really was like, oh, this is fucking. I think that one, the what the fuck is it, Lights Out or some shit, where, oh no wait, Lights Out. Wait, was it? No, that's Get Out. No, fucking Lights Out, the one where it's like, you turn off the fucking lights and that creepy fucking girl, it really just, it plays on the whole, like, are you afraid of the dark fucking thing. Like, that creeped me out. Because it's just like, I don't know, who's not afraid of the fucking dark, or who wasn't afraid of the dark? I'm still a little bit, fucking, I mean, having kids has it's forced me to work through a lot of shit, right? Because I was fucking afraid of the dark until I had kids. Because you can't be afraid of the dark when you have kids. You can't. Same thing with fucking spiders. Like, I've always had a fucking phobia of fucking spiders, thanks to my wonderful fucking mother. But when you have kids, you can't fucking show that fear. You can still be afraid of them, but you definitely can't show it. Right? So, of course, it's my job that whenever there's a fucking spider, like, I'm the one that has to fucking deal with it. And the good thing is that the more I fucking have to deal with it, the less afraid of it, or less afraid of them I am. There's just certain things that there are some benefits, if you have like an unreasonable fucking fear of shit as an adult, that if you have a kid, you sort of have to just get over it. Right? You just, I mean, you can still be afraid, but you definitely have to put on a fucking brave face. And just by default, after putting on a brave face over and over and over again, eventually you sort of just get over it. And you're just like, okay, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fucking dark, but, I can walk around in it. I don't have the same, like, oh fuck, something's gonna jump out, even though it's irrational as fuck, right? I mean, even before kids, I was like, obviously there's nothing fucking in the dark. There's nothing I need to fucking worry about. But, your brain fucks with you, and it's just like, maybe this is the time where all that shit that you watched on TV fucking comes to real life, and, I don't know. I'm just fucking babbling at this point. I think I probably should wrap it up here. So, yeah, I'm going to fucking end the podcast here. I'll try, since I didn't give you a podcast on Tuesday, I'll try my best to give you another one tomorrow, although my kids are off of school. Although my son is going, where the fuck is he going? He's going go-kart fucking racing or whatever, so he won't be home, and maybe my daughter will go with her mother. I don't know. But, if I have fucking free time tomorrow, I will definitely give you guys another podcast. But if I don't, then, I'll fucking talk to you again on Tuesday. So, I hope you've had a good week so far. It's fucking Thursday, almost the fucking weekend. Just got one more day. Yeah, so fucking like always, don't take any shit and go fuck yourself. Peace, bitches.